Welcome back, fellow shop rats. Today, here in the shop, we are back on the 47 Ford StreetRod project that we call Fat Fanny. It's a bubble butt, that's for sure. But we're going to get this grill sanded down, all the little pits filled in, and all the stuff we need to get done to get ready to put paint on that grill and get it bolted back on the car. Don't go away, this is going to be fun. Not, but it's got to be done, right? I'm Mike.
This is My Car's Shop.
In our last episode, we had fitted all of the stainless on the bumperette and the grill, and we had gone through and looked at where we needed to do work. We have little pits, and I tried sanding here to see if I had put enough high build on there to get those pits out, and I have not. So we're going to dig out, we already dug it out, our little glaze and go through and touch up all these little spots and get them all done up. Then I'm going to go ahead and hit it with a little bit of sandable primer. I don't have any of the buff primer right now. We will end up seeing how much of the gray is showing, and we'll make a decision if we're going to let that hold us back from painting it or where we're going to go. But we're going to get this all done up today. It's tedious detail work, but it's got to be done. This is a nice car, and we don't want to cut corners and not make it turn out really respectable. Remember that most of this is hidden, but there's just a little strip in here where there's some rust pits that we need to get filled for this thing to go up to the next level. Otherwise, it just won't look as good as it should. So let's get after it. In hindsight on this, what I should have done was just skim coat all of this area on the grill. But, you know, hindsight's 2020. And I know what I was thinking was I thought all these pits were going to be covered up. I'm curious to know if the original pieces are wider and if it would have been covered up, but not curious enough to go out and dig them out of the sassy swinger. So I'm going to try to open this stuff up and stir some up and get some on there. But apparently it's entering my bionic strength. Oh, jeez, man. Apparently that's been on there for a while. Yep, product's a little bit poopy in the end there. Yep, it's a bit constipated there at the end, so we'll move that out of the way. All right, let's get some mixed up. There we go, that's better. That's way too much, so that'll be just right. Okay, we'll mix that up, and then we'll just go through here and start filling little pits and spots. And this is probably all going to harden up faster than a fast thing, but at least we'll get it all on there, get it done. I'm just using a razor blade, just trying to make it as best as we can. My goodness, there's a lot of pits in here. I called around to see if anybody had the rattle can buff colored primer, and nobody did. So I'm either going to order it online, or I did price the hardener for the paint that I have, and it's about $28 for a half pint. Prices are just out of control on everything, that's for sure. But, que sera, sera. Couple little pitties down here. There. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Got a little carried away with that one. That's all right. This stuff sands really easy. And there was one more, if I remember right. No, I guess not. Some of these are so small, it's hardly worth filling them, but might as well do it. Some of this stuff is pretty bad, though. And she's hardening up on me already. I knew I did that. I knew I mixed it a little bit on the aggressive side. Oh well. Yep. She's done. Boy, that was a waste. Need to mix a lot smaller quantity next time. Alright, we'll be back. Just like that, I got all the little pits touched up, so I'm going to let that dry really thoroughly. This stuff sands really easily, so we'll hit that with some 180. And then we'll hit it probably with some 220, and that'll be good enough. We'll probably finish it off with 320 before we paint, but I'm probably going to have to prime. If I can find some gray primer, I'll be comfortable with that, I think. But overall, I mean, I'm not too worried about color matching down in this spot in here. So if it's a little different color primer there, I'm fine. This is the main thing that I really am concerned about, because this butts right up against the fender. So as long as this stays yellow here, I'm not too worried about little color variations down there. It will be so slight and minor, and there's so much stainless and so much shadowing down there, that's not going to be a real problem. So we'll see what we can accomplish. This isn't going to be ready to paint today, so don't misunderstand me, but we're going to have it as close as we can to being ready to paint, so we can get that done after everything dries and shrinks. So I got the first little area sanded down here. I don't feel any edges at all. We'll fill prime that a little bit and sand it again, obviously, just make sure there's no feather edge, but that's what it's going to be on every single spot here. We got a job of work to do, so this will take me a few hours to get all this little tedious crap done. But even if I had skim coated the whole thing, the work would have been about the same. So it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. So I don't think I saved myself anything, and I don't think I created myself anything either. It's just where I'm putting the work in. Wished I had checked that, because in some ways it would have been a little easier with rougher grit sandpaper. I'm using 180 right now. I'll prime it, then go over it with 220 and 320. But I just remembered I have some U-Pol primer here that I can mix up and spray on this that's gray, so that's probably what we'll do. We'll see where we end up here. But, oh, I missed a spot right there. What do you know about that? All right, we'll get it. Here we go. About another 20 minutes later, and I got that much done. Don't feel any high or low spots in there. A little bit of a hump right there. That's a dent. I can take that out real quick. But, again, it's not someplace that's going to be highly visible, so I'm not too worried about it, but we will knock that down just a little bit. It's a result of this dent right here, which I'm not bothering to take out because it's all underneath everything anyway. So see if I got a little rattle can to touch this up, but first let me go tink 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 right here. My little special hammer that I made for just such an emergency. Got rid of that. Don't care about that one. Got a little bit of zoots right there. My main concern is that that line is there as much as possible. So I've almost got to sand it right down to the metal in there to make sure that that body line stays in there. We don't want that disappearing, because that trim doesn't go all the way up there, you know. And so we don't want a spot where that line disappears because of this pucky that's in there. Okay, let's see if I got a rattle can of gray to just touch that real quick and see what we're looking like. Feel a spot right there. There we go. Okay, let's see what we got. Happened to find a little can of fill prime. My line is good. That's the main concern. And my pits are gone. I'll bring you over here and let you see. Don't see any fill edges. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Looks really good. Very good. Oh, I got a little bit of, let's see what we got there. Spray it a little bit more. Okay, we'll get that out in the primer. It's just got a little groove in there from where I got a little carried away with my sandpaper. But I don't think it's going to be that visible. But it'll go out with the primer as we sand it. So, good to go. All right, lather, rinse, and repeat on all the rest. Yee-hoo! Maybe we'll go up here and get that done. That's going to be a little bit of a work. But that should, if I'm careful, I shouldn't really end up with much of a spot there. And it's right on the edge. That's the nice thing, is the grill guard comes right in here. So there won't be much of that showing to worry about the grill. Just like that. Looks pretty good. See a little pit right there, but I'm pretty sure that's under the grill bar. But we'll check all that once it's dry. I see I got a minor thing in the line down here like I thought. But we'll see where that is, because I got to sand that out with 220 or 320 or both. I'm not sure. I may just go right to 320. This is 180 here. I'm just using that to get quickly through this. So it's going to be some lather, rinse, and repeat, but it's going all right. And then, of course, we've got to check this all out also. But I think this was good. I don't remember. You tell me from the last video. There we go. Thought I'd show it to you before I shoot it with the gray. Man, that was a job of work. I'm glad that's done. So we'll go through. I'm going to dress this with a Scotch-Brite real quick to make sure I get good adhesion with the primer. And then we'll go ahead and shoot all that, and I'll show you what we've got when we got it. Got a little bit of feather edging there, but it ain't bad, and that'll wet sand out with some more primer on there. See what I mean by feather edging is you can see the slight edges of the product underneath. So what you do to eliminate that is the primer works as a filler, and you spray that with the primer, and then you let it dry and shrink, and a couple days then you sand that out and you won't even see it. Looks good. We'll let this dry. We'll see what little flaws we need to fix. But I think we're in pretty good shape. Now this is just a lacquer fill prime here, so we've committed ourselves to letting this dry for a few days so it can shrink. I didn't put it on real heavy, although I did get a run in one little spot. And we'll still go over it with something else. But I'm not even worried about sand scratching and shrinking in here. Again, because it's such a small area, it's very different than in the middle of a big panel where if you get some sand scratch swelling, which is shrinking basically, where the solvents are there when you paint it and it looks good, and then the solvents leach out over a few weeks of curing, and then it settles into the scratches and the sanding, then that's a bigger concern than here. You're not going to see, unless it's severe, you're not going to see sand scratch swelling. Say that 4 times real fast. You're not going to see much sand scratch swelling here. I'm going to go hang this in front of the heater for a little while, let it dry out good, and then we'll be back. So there it is, right in front of the drying, in front of the heater. I love this because you can adjust these fins here as to where it blows, and it's blowing right on it, so that's going to dry it real nice, and actually will contribute to the curing to help that shrink up. So there we go. A couple little spots I'm going to have to dress, but I will really need this primer to dry. So I think I'm going to leave it at that for now. But let's test fit everything again and make sure that nothing major is showing through other than a couple spots that I see that need just a little love. Like you can see right there, there's just a little edge that didn't sand out very well. That was a kind of a bugger of a spot, so I'm not surprised there, but I don't dare sand that right now because otherwise it'll just tear the primer off because it's still gummy. Oh, I also hammered a little bitty dent out right there. I got most of that one gone also. There we go. It looks really good. Made a couple little marks in it there. Oh, that's just dirt. I'm going to go over this real quick with some super clean and just get all the dust and stuff off of it. Not that that matters as far as seeing how things look, but it'll just be nice to have that looking a little better. Plus we got just some dirt and dust that came out from working. So let's get it cleaned up. I'll be right back. It looks killer. It was cleaned super fast and super easy. It's now super clean. Oh, it looks phenomenal. Yes, all the little flaws and stuff are almost imperceptible. Really happy with that. Really, 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 really. I love the grill on this car. It is just killer. Turn my light on here so you can see the edges now. There's no pits. Everything is good. There's the little spots in there. Boy, that ain't much. I don't even know if I need to worry about that. A little bit right there. I probably need to dress that up. Nothing there. I'm just going with you and looking at it with a fine-tooth comb. That's dirt. Don't see anything there at all. That's dirt. Little teeny pit there. That'll sand out. Even that edge right there, you can hardly see it. There's a couple little teeny pits in there. Those will sand out. Boy, this looks amazing. Killer, killer, killer. Okay, I put the bumper head underneath it so we can get a good look at what needs to be addressed on here. And quite frankly, nothing that I can see so far. We got a little pit right there we got to touch. But there was a couple of goobahs in here and you can't even see them, so I'm not going to worry about those. Little teeny spot there. Nothing to worry about. Nothing I need to address today. I thought I was going to have to do some sanding on that, but anything I see is going to come out in final sand. So I think I got to make some decisions here. Let me ponder. It requires thinking and I'm not good at it. So I mentioned there was some spots like here's one, here's one, here's one. None of that is seen when the grill is on top of it, so I don't have to worry about that. So I just got one little teeny spot there that will sand right out. And there was another one somewhere in here I can't even see. But I think we're good. I know I spent a lot of time on this bumper last time I worked on this car, so it should be pretty much ready to go. So that's cool. Just spent some time going over it with a fine-tooth comb and marking the stuff that I see that needs to be touched up. I got a little pit right there that needs to be done. Got a little edge in here that could use a little dressing. That won't probably show regardless, and a little pit there. Anything else I see, I know will get buried in the basin to clear it. It won't be a problem. At this point, I don't think I'm going to worry about putting this in the buff. I think we're going to go ahead and leave this, but I'm going to have to let this dry good for a while to be sure we don't get a lot of shrinkage. I might pick up another Nason spray bomb like this. This is etch prime, but they have just a regular primer. That will be a little bit better. I'm a little concerned about going over this Rust-Oleum with base coat, clear coat. I don't want to get any lifting, so I might want to seal that with something that's a little bit more in a high-end primer. I know this would be fine. I've used that many times, so we may pick a can of that up. I may get on the interwebs and order a can of Buff anyway. They're like $20, and I don't know. We'll see. But it's, yeah, good. And now we wait. I'll make some decisions about the primer, and we'll go from there. Who knows? I'm just tempted to go with it and risk it and see what happens. Might be a good experiment. What do you got to lose? You got nothing to lose. So that'll do it for this one. Thanks for spending the day here in the shop with me. I appreciate it. And like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. The channel is plugging right along. I appreciate all the growth and all the interaction. And we'll just go from there. So thanks for joining me here. We'll catch you on the next one. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. You regulars, you expect this. Sometimes I forget. Not really, but I act like I do on TV. Wrong!